Yo. Check out that mushroom. Looks like a morel. I don't think it is. I mean, I know it's not, but kind of had some same characteristics. Thunder is getting crazy. Here's some more of those mushrooms. I'm not good with mushrooms. I don't know what I'm looking at, so I don't eat them. Kind of cool. The word explorer has changed significantly over the course of the last 200 years. Now, of course, the anatomy of the word, the spelling of the word, of course that's the same. It's the meaning of it that has changed. For instance, let's run through a scenario. Let's say we hop into a time machine and we jump back 218 years. That would be 1805. Now, for the sake of this discussion, let's say we're in St. Louis, Missouri. So, there we are, St. Louis, Missouri, in the year 1805. So let's just say I'm walking the streets and I ask a bunch of folks, I ask them, can you name me one explorer? You know, what are some of the names you think you'd hear? You know, you're most likely going to hear Columbus, Magellan, Marco Polo, maybe even Coronado. But what's interesting is they would also say Lewis and Clark, because, you know, Lewis and Clark left the year before, and so they were out exploring the Louisiana Purchase. Now, let's say tomorrow, like present day, like tomorrow, let's say I get on a flight and I go to St. Louis, Missouri, and I ask a bunch of folks, can you name me an explorer? You know, what are the differences in names you think you'd hear? You know, you'd hear Columbus, Magellan, Marco Polo, Coronado. But what separates today from 1805 is there's no more explorers. There's no more modern explorers. I mean, there is, but not by that same definition, right? And technically, Lewis and Clark, yeah, they were exploring, but they were a military outfit. They weren't just explorers, right? But I guess the same could be said for the conquistadors as well. You know, they were exploring, but they kind of had a mission to conquer. I think the difference between now and 1805 is there's not much left to discover on this earth. And I mean, there's some places in the deep Amazon and things like that, but I mean, you can get on Google Earth and look at every square inch of earth. And so the word explorer has kind of taken on a new meaning. The difference between now and 1805 is there's not much left to discover, right? And really, after Lewis and Clark got back, they got back in 1806. After that, you had the 1820s, the 1830s, and the 40s, which was like your fur trade era. That's when all the trappers were running around. And they were exploring, but their goal wasn't to explore. So exploring kind of became a byproduct of other occupations, right? And when you think about it like on a global scale, and you follow the migration of mankind, one of the last places on this earth to ever be discovered, to ever be explored, to ever be mapped, the last places would be the Rocky Mountains of the West, right? And the whole West. Right where I'm sitting. It's pretty cool. You know, I guess you've got the North Pole and the South Pole and whatnot, but this was one of the last places to ever really be explored. And so this trail I'm walking right now is a pretty historical trail. And you had the fur trade era, the 1820s, 30s, and 40s, and this trail was used quite a bit. But then after the 40s, not much happened. You know, beaver market was bad. Everybody was buying silk. And so this place was kind of abandoned for another 40 years. Then there's a guy named Beaver Dick who came in here and kind of made this place his own for a while. That would have been 1870, 1860. Pretty cool. So, why do I even bring this up? Why am I going through such lengths to explain what an explorer is? Well, I suppose it's because today I'm exploring. I'm an explorer. You know, I guess when it all comes down to it, exploring is just learning something new. Going someplace you've never been. I guess that's what it's been all along. You know, my grandfather told me of this trail a long time ago, and for some reason this trail always stuck with me. I'd never been up here. I figured, you know what, I got time and I guess I'll come up and check it out. I'll tell you what, it was worth it. I can still go up the trail another mile and a half, but there's been some pretty close lightning strikes so far, so I think I'll probably just turn around and head down the trail and wait for a better day to climb all the way up the top. It doesn't take very long. So